Let's do this. Hey, good morning. It's Spence. It's Friday. It's always Friday in my world. It is February 21st. It's cold, but it's so bright I may have to wear shades. So I want to say today is going to be a special day because it's the kind of office hours we're going to talk more broad-based strategy. Yesterday, I'm ready to go skeet shooting with these things on. Yesterday I had some really productive conversations about the way that we're going to use all of this stuff, whether or not you're using explicitly all of the tools in the Minute Launch software bundle, or whether or not you're using outside tools, or whether you're using even AI. The truth is that we're living in a different world than 6 months ago, a year ago, 2 years ago, and beyond. And the downside is that the world doesn't necessarily keep up with letting ordinary business folks like all of us know what is the proper technique and tactic and tool to use in a modern world. It would be very comparable to, by the way, hold on. Okay, good. I should have checked my audio. Good morning, everybody who's coming in. So, and by the way, you guys who are coming in, always just say hi, say hello. It's nice to say hello. 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 That way I know you're here. Let me know my audio sounds good, whether you like the yellow vest of the IKEA guy. So whichever of the tools that you may have a good synchronicity with, the truth is things are going to be quite different than they were as far as strategy. And today I'm going to let you behind the curtain on some of the things that I've noticed. And I'm also going to be very outspoken. So I'm hoping that if anybody is listening or watching from the outside world, that you bring your opinions. Let's have a debate about this, because I'm willing to stand up and say I have plenty of evidentiary proof from real world clients and myself in real time what's working. Okay. So let me take you on a little journey to talk. Like, let me first of all move this to be smaller. Let's talk about, you have a business for yourself or for clients. Good morning, Michael. Good morning, Anne. Thank you guys for checking in. Good morning. If we're really being honest with ourselves, the whole purpose of this is not necessarily to be entertainment. I mean, don't get me wrong. I really, really, really love. Good morning, Lloyd. Nice to see you yesterday, by the way. I really, really, really love working on the website. In fact, I'll often describe for people that one of my most therapeutic days is Sunday morning, quiet. Maybe my son, who lives with me still, is asleep. The other ones are out of the house. And I just look out my bay window, or, look out onto the now snow, and I go off into the coding world and I create stuff. It reminds me when I was a little kid and you wake up and I'd work with radio control model airplanes, or plastic models, or I'd do Legos, or I'd do science kits. I was a very, curious kid, maybe like I am today. But in the 70s, we didn't have a lot of stuff to entertain us. So on those days, I really feel it's enjoyable. But at the end of the day, really, the reason that I'm doing all the coding and stuff is it's more satisfying when you tie it together with let me see if I can make something that somebody will buy, or that one of my clients' customers will buy. Because then you get the full validation, right? And the ways that we do things today is really fundamentally based upon, is it possible for somebody of any age to make a livelihood by going against the grain, going against the norm? So on a societal and a global level, we're fortunate because we now live in this world where there's an infinite amount of cool new stuff every day. Now, I'm going to show you some stuff on the screen, but I want you to take note when I say an infinite amount of free, cool stuff that used to be super duper 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 expensive. I am going to switch to a mode that is less about the overlay. I'm just going to go like this. Okay. We live in a world where the upside down of my childhood is true. When I was in my childhood, you could see cool stuff, but it was always like tearing a coupon out of a catalog, sending away a check, waiting months. Maybe one day the guy would come to your door, or go to the library, wait for the latest magazine to come and figure out how to build a radio control model airplane, or this is the coolest new thing in that field. When I started in real estate, I had all my good luck because the information about what was available was not for everybody to find. It was literally printed on these phone book like things that had to be delivered only if you're a real estate person. And then even when it went online, it was a private bulletin board Tuesday, 2 in the morning. Only the people who knew how to get in there could get to it. Well, now we live in a world where every single Tom, Dick, Harry, Susie, Betty, and whatever has access to everything. And when it comes to technology, like when I first started I mean, I sound like a geezer, right? When I started in technology, it was because I was doing aviation and I wanted to put my videos and photos online. And that in those days in 2006 was a remarkably hard feat. YouTube, it was like a postage stamp. And it took you all day to edit this 320 by 240 pixel postage stamp from this giant camera. And you had to encode it. And I mean, all the stuff. Now you got a Hollywood 4K production studio, 5K even in your pocket. So what does that mean? It means that as the world continues to have more and more amazing technology and more automated technology, there's really only one thing that is going to allow you to attract and keep a new client. And let's just really be honest for a second, because I'm going to share the details of this. There is no offense to you, no offense to you, no offense to you, no offense to you, no offense to me. There is no way in God's green earth that you are ever going to be smart enough to write something on your own, whether you learn development skills or have them, that is going to outpace anybody else. I said this, actually, I was speaking with Lloyd yesterday on this topic, and we may disagree because there are exceptions to this rule, and I'm going to get to them. But in most cases, unless there is still a walled garden around the customer, there is nothing that separates you and you and you and you and you and you from all of the professional $100 million companies. You have access to all the same stuff that they do now, which also means that your idea means nothing for attracting a new customer and preventing people from staying out, which means it's totally pointless to be worrying about that. What is the one thing that all of us have that is absolutely, almost maybe 99.9%, I'll tell you why, bulletproof for keeping out competition? What's the one thing? Anybody? Bueller? You, me. You see, as the world continues to have more and more automation and more technology, more and more cool things, and they keep kicking out, not just, wait 2 months and send away a check and the UPS guy comes back in May, but like every day, the one thing that is true is that human beings, especially those who have businesses or need businesses or want online, they need a human being to basically be their liaison, to be their concierge. And at the end of the day, that is not only what I've been selling, well, not only what I'm selling today, but that is what I've been selling all along. There has always been, and I want to honor Lloyd's point because I come from a law background. I come from a real estate background. I just mentioned some of these examples. I come from a world like the legal background where there very much is still a barrier to entry. So there are still walled gardens that protect lawyers. And Lloyd and I were talking about defense contractors or people who are inside an industry, even real estate agents that have licensing and rules and things that say you can and can't do this. But for the majority of people, the businesses that are out in the real world, it's just who's the most clever, who's going to get the most attractive offer. So when it really comes down to it is, if everybody has access to almost unlimited free technology and everybody has access to tools that are now smarter than many human beings, unfortunately, then there's no point, except in the case where you're in a real true walled garden, right? Like bidding on contracts for a school system or inside of a lawyer's only meeting because it's stuff that's only available to somebody with a law license. Unless you're in one of those protected environments, you might as well not be wasting a minute of your time pretending to try to attract clients with things that are going to be competitively available for all the people who see your idea. The second that you create something, just assume everybody can see it. Now, that's actually, I know I'm sounding like I'm a little bit on the pulpit here, but like that's actually the most liberating thing of all. Why? Because the truth is, your clever technologies and walls technologies of the past never were really protecting you from anything. What happens is the same nonsense that we see all the time. Somebody discovers a simpler, better way of doing something, and everybody tries to copy it, whether it's in America or China or Eastern Europe or wherever. It doesn't matter. We're in a global world. Everybody sees everything all the time. And now AI sees everything while you're sleeping, while you're awake, and so forth. So if you're thinking about a business because I'm going to build some cool new thing and you don't make you the part of the process that's the most important, in my opinion, that's leading to disaster. On the other hand, let's talk about the sunny side of the street. The sunny side of the street is you can stop fussing around with trying to be all things to all people and instead be one thing to all people. Be the person with whom these people want to have a human relationship, and you make it your business, even for a specific niche. Like Colleen's not here today, but like for pickleball tournament directors, okay? These are people that have jobs, but she can be the expert on how to execute online pickleball tournament stuff and be the source. Is that something that is protected? No, anybody could do that. I'm sure there's 10,000 different pickleball related this and that and the other, but there's only one of Colleen. She's got a great name, picklevisor.com. But the point is, she understands from talking to me that by making her the point, making her the concierge, that the real thing she's selling is the relationship with the other human beings who want to be involved in what she can offer them, whether it be the newsletter service, whether it be the help and the documentation on how to run a pickleball tournament and so forth. Anne is here today. You know, I talk with Anne all the time. She's working with me on a lot of things. Anne is in the nutrition field. There's lots of very specific details that yesterday Anne and I were talking about that only she would know. Now, Anne can pipe in here if she wants. Good morning, Karina. I think that's good. I'm not sure if that's Karina. Where you? Tell me who this is, because I recognize Guru Tech, but I have two Guru Techs in my brain. Thanks for joining us, by the way. Why no? The thing that Ann and I talked about, which is going to be relevant in a second as I show you, is the techniques that I show you today kind of require everybody to make a choice. And this is, I mean, I respect what we were talking about. Ann, feel free to pipe in here. But it requires everybody to decide in a world of trolls and otherwise, how much of yourself you're willing to expose. And I am maybe blessed or cursed with the fact that I have 20 plus years of dealing with trolls, and I have a lawyer background, and I love people, and I love talking, and I love thinking and debating. So for me, I'm not really so, I don't want to say the word afraid. I'm not so turned off by being the face and the voice instead of trying to put something else up. And I found that that is what's led to most of my success. For example, some of my earlier characters that got me the most success were by being a little bit of a gimmick, right? Like Spence, the evil genius, or my crazy way of, I had my guitar and I played the intro lick and a dun, 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 dun. I made it memorable, like Colonel Sanders or Ray Kroc or, you know, the ShamWow guy, you know, Ron Popeil. By being the voice and the face in a public sense, that sometimes is very helpful because people get a kick out of that, especially if you're fun and you're helpful. But even if you don't want to do that, what I'm going to show you today is that you need to be a human being that is authentically human being, because more than ever now with the AI, people are going to sense, they smell, they see that uncanny valley of like, I'm dealing with a robot and I don't want to deal with a robot. I want a real person. Okay. Let's jump into some examples. One of the things, and I'm going to share the screen. One of the things that has come from the modern world we live in is the death of the fiction that was Google. I have mixed feelings about Google because I was here when it was created. I used to remember all the crazy stuff like Alta Vista. I don't even know if it shows up to anything. That's hilarious. There's a place back in the day in 1995 called Alta Vista, and it, you know, you kids wouldn't remember this, but it was literally like manually created search result pages, right? And there was other ones. There was Yahoo, Alta Vista. God, now I'm gonna like sound silly. It doesn't matter. There's about 6 or 8 of them that we all used to visit. And then what happened is that Larry and Sergey came up with this algorithm, got funding that was the greatest idea ever, which was let's make an algorithm that we use to decide who gets ranked first for these things called keywords. And we'll continually keep changing this private algorithm so that everybody has to bow to our altar and please us or try to please us. And then they're going to end up having to pay us in order to bypass the line at Magic Mountain or Space Mountain and get to the front. So, for example, today, I'm going to tell you why this is nonsense. There are still people who believe, and this is false, proven false, that it is worth their time to spend money on doing traditional organic SEO. I say false, because unless you include in there plus a gigantic paid budget to Google, you will not end up anywhere near the top of Google for most organic traffic unless you've come up with some really weird, esoteric thing, because the system is broken and gamed, and it always has been. But now AI has revealed that, which emphasizes even more why the technique I'm going to show you, I promise, I'm being a little teaser, is a way to bypass the whole system. Let's start with a concept. Let's do WP Launchify. Let's see just weird stuff that shows up. Now, I want to explain to you a couple of things that traditionally I had to do. They're kind of mental. One is that I had to put up this whole business listing for my website and the rest of it. Now, I don't think I've ever gotten a single client from this. Not once ever. But because Google had made everybody else believe that this was critical, even though this is a PO box. I don't live here or anything else. This is just a thing that I had to do in order to please Google, because otherwise I'd be punished if I didn't have it. It was stupid. It always has been stupid. I don't have a walk-in place. I don't have something that's like, hey, come on into the store. But I had to pretend that I did. Huge waste of time. Huge industry of people thinking that they needed to do that. And they did, because they'd be punished in the past. Not anymore. This phone number is real, but it's a virtual phone number. It goes through Skype and Twilio and ends up forwarding to my Google Voice or maybe my cell phone if I'm in the mood. Let's look at the other results. Thankfully, nobody has hijacked my name and keyword, which is another problem. But when you scroll down here and look at the traffic, this traffic is ridiculous. Like, I mean, I have a really good business, but nobody's coming through this tracking system. I've got my YouTube channel. I want you to take a note. What just happened here? I searched for a specific name. It associated it to a domain, but just watch what happened. It showed a business listing if they have it, because that's in Google's interest to force everybody to do that stuff. And typically, not me, but typically people pay extra for stuff. Then it will typically index out if the domain matches the domain. That's fair. Most people won't see analytics because obviously this is just me looking at my console. But then it shows, oh, YouTube channel. Oh, videos. And then, oh, here's some social media, LinkedIn, and that's it. Interesting. Let's try some other businesses. One of the plugins that I work with is WP Fusion. Jack does an amazing job on SEO and otherwise, but let's see what happens when we put that in. Very similar. And by the way, I'm logged in as me. I'm going to do this incognito too and see if that makes any difference. I get the website. I get Jack's in Germany. I guarantee you they don't have a business to walk into. Then there's the plugin. There's some videos. Now, interestingly, check it out. HubSpot, Buddy Boss talks about WP Fusion, Automator, Active W Campaign. Interesting. Note the consistency. What happens first? Business first. Then, in this case, kind of weird that a WordPress showed up before the questions that they've got. And then, videos again. Let's do LearnDash. I'm getting to the point. Notice LearnDash does not have a business listing. Notice sponsored. somebody paid big money to Google to basically hijack LearnDash. Don't you find it weird? Wouldn't it be upsetting to you if you had a domain LearnDash and somebody paid money and were able to outrank you for your own name? Doesn't that offend common sense? Right? Like even the trademark and the copyright office don't let you, take somebody's proper business name. We got to go sponsor one. By the way, LearnDash itself, only their paid thing shows up above their actual thing. So third party paid ad by the actual company itself, paid ad by another third party, and then only then do we end up at LearnDash. Now, by the way, I'm just randomly picking things. I didn't plan this. I trust you. If you want to type a word in here, we'll do this rando. And then what happens? Oh, videos by YouTube. And then you get some more stuff and whatever. Let's do another one here. This one's going to be the most informative of all. Let's try something that a guy named Spence has been having a lot of fun with lately because I've been building a software for it as well as talking a lot about it. Fluent Community. Let's see what happens. Well, they're in Bangladesh, so of course there's no walk-in business, but thankfully, and by the way, notice this is saying like Highland Park because this is close to where I'm at, but I can change this to Chicago. Doesn't make a difference. The difference, actually, I take one thing back. The difference is, notice what happens when you change the geographic area. It changed the search results. That wasn't really what I wanted. So let's do Fluent Community. So forgetting where we're at geographically, because I don't think that has anything to do with it. First is the plugin. That's proper. Then you get WordPress.org, maybe proper too. Nice that you get some of the things that are appropriate, like community.manage ninja. That's their community space using their own community plugin. And then you get some things I'm not so sure. But then look what's weird. When you come down here, this one actually is interesting. Hold on. I'm going to do, I don't know if I can make this page fit more. Let's do it like that. There we go. What's weird with this one is, and this is a surprise to me because I think I'm going to log out of me. I think it got confused by what I just did. So I'm going to do something. Let me see if I can log out of this. Let's just switch to, let's switch to another account. Let's just do any old account. This is just a rando account. Okay, let's do Fluent Community. Because I think it was affected by something I just did, but let's see. No, it's about the same. Okay. So notice what happened here. This one I'm a little surprised by because I get different results yesterday, but it filled the page with no ads. Not sure why. Their name, then the plugin, then their community, and then whatever. And then the first video that came up, which normally I think would be more videos, kind of went on to other ones. That one's unusual to me because that's not normally what happens. But if somebody were to go over to here, this is what's interesting to me. Notice the videos that show up. And normally, if what I was expecting to have happened, normally what was happening was like those other pages, I was getting the YouTube thing show up with 5 videos first. But either way, what we see happening here is YouTube video, 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 YouTube video. On this page, I see at least 4 of my throwaway videos. This is one I did a day ago. Point being, these were throwaway videos. These was like spend 7 minutes of just on a Sunday with the sunshine talking about a topic. Okay. Let's put together a couple of these things because this ties into the strategy. I'm going to do one more, by the way, because I'm curious to see. I don't really talk about it too much, but if I was to do, let's try it like Fluent CRM. See what shows up with that. If we go to all search. Again, similar. Somebody got the idea, let's pay money, jump on top of them. So wrong. Pay on top. Here is them. Here's their plugin. Now we're back to the video format. I'm really intrigued now, by the way. Like my little head is scratching itself going, why is it that only on Fluent Community did that come up differently? Maybe I spelled it wrong. Yeah. I can't figure that one out. That one's interesting to me. I'm gonna do no, same result, even with location. Okay. So let me do the takeaway on this. The takeaway is this. What we learned is if you were looking for new clients and you were trying to do paid advertisement, starting with Google, you would maybe have some success at a great cost at being one of those ads that pops above somebody else's stuff. It's going to very clearly list you as sponsored. And if you ask me, you're going to kind of look like a dick to the people because nobody is fooled by when you go to, let's say, one of these locations. Nobody is fooled, like we just saw, when you go to type in Fluent CRM and you end up with some other company with ads at the top, right? CRM business software. I'm not fooled by that. It says sponsor. I'm a human being. I mean, this isn't kidding anybody. More importantly, most people aren't searching like that. Most people are doing stuff like this, or let's say they're going to ChatGPT or Gemini or whatever, right? And they're using whatever model they're using. And it's like, I'm interested in the best community plugin for WordPress. Can you tell me what that is? And any information like videos or user manuals, how to make it work for my business. Let's see what it comes up with. Now, that was a shitty prompt. I didn't give a lot of details. I'm not trying to be good with that. I'm just trying to say, like, average Tom, Dick, Harry, Susie, they're going to do stuff like this. Notice what's coming up. First of all, it's coming up with, as I said, stuff that is not wrong, but is definitely not right. BuddyPress is technically still high on the list of stuff, and bbPress is, but that's not necessarily the answer. Good morning, Kurt. I've been loving your barbecue and beer videos. Keep them up. Peepso, maybe, MemberSpace. Notice it doesn't really come up with anything that if you asked Uncle Spence or somebody who's doing this for a living, that they would recommend. Have you heard of Fluent Community? This is like how an average person might use this kind of thing today. Maybe. Okay, so now it starts talking, starts coming up with videos. Cool. Can you list out the most recent tutorials for me? Let's see what it comes up with. These are questions that aren't really loaded. These are just, I mean, I think I'm being fair here. Let's see what comes up. Here's Fluent Community Build a community on WordPress, step-by-step walkthrough, introduction. Okay. So this doesn't do as good of a job by putting it in Canvas. Can you show these videos in Canvas mode? Let's see if it can do that. That's the thing that has like the dual screens. I'm not going to make this an AI video, but like, point of the story is somebody is now doing this instead of this. Most people are doing some version of this instead of this. Notice what's not happening. Nobody is getting your paid ad here. All right. Worse, Facebook. If you spend your time, I was speaking to one of my favorite new clients, Jim, who has got a travel business, and he's spending a lot of money and time on Facebook ads and all the nonsense with tracking those ads with JavaScript and where they go and everything else. And guess what's not happening? Facebook is not giving him the information about who actually clicked on the links or their contact information in Facebook. No, not happening. He only gets that information if and when they finally make it to the site. And so what's happening is he's spending an inordinate amount of time and energy and money on trying to please Facebook. And the algorithm of Facebook is just vomiting that up into the randomness of wherever it is that those groups are. And he has zero actual knowledge of who these people are, whether they're really interested or what. And so if they end up at his thing, he's back to basically square one where he could have been, which was, what if instead of trying to randomly attract somebody, I did the modern way? Okay, for those of you, I see the bell is rang, it's 30 minutes. For those of you who have stayed with me on this setup, what the hell am I going for here? What am I talking about? Well, here's the deal. Whether you spend money on a person who does SEO and just endlessly tries to tweak your page with keywords and this and that and this and that to please the Google overlord, or you have a Facebook or other advertising specialist for Google ads trying to pay to play and get in that sponsor position above everybody else that should have been first. You're essentially demonstrating you're a dick in most cases, or dickette, because they're not fooled by it anymore. In fact, they're turned off by it. If you do play it nicely and you manage to spend all the money and you try to go into these audiences, Facebook and Google, the oligarchs that run those things now, are not interested in helping you to build their business. They track every single detail of that human being and get every single knowledgeable thing about that person possible and sell it again, including your business. They give you zero usable information because you have to hope that you have something that sends somebody ultimately to what? The tools you already have. Finally, if you see how people are searching using basically just any AI, the results have nothing at all to do with what you would get from a Facebook ad or a Google search result or a Google ad or whatever. I want to do one more thing because I'm curious, George. I don't think anybody on this planet uses Bing. I don't even think it exists, but let's just see what happens for a community, because they're not owned by Google. We get a similar result, which is actually useful for my purposes, which is, first of all, we get the website itself. Then you get a bunch of videos. I didn't mean to click on that, but relevant videos. Notice they don't seem to be so heavy on ads, which is good. But they're also not super heavy right up front on the YouTube videos for obvious reasons. They don't own YouTube. So what I'm about to show you and talk about is probably not so much as good for people who might use Bing, but I think 6 people use Bing. We're going to try one more. This is just part of my Curious George phase. DuckDuckGo. This is an agnostic website. If you've ever used it for search, it does things that are different. I don't even know. Yeah, here, search without being tracked. So Fluent Community. Let's see what they come up with. Pretty reasonable results and fair results, right? So you have lots of tools and stuff, but you see Fluent CRM, Fluent Communities, which is another plugin. I don't know what that is. I've never heard of that. I don't know if there's even advertising. I have to be fair. I don't know whether or not these are paid ads, but I don't see anything that indicates they are. So I assume these are just organic results, which reasonable. If we go to videos, let's see what comes up. Well, this is interesting because this supports my point. Notice what's on this page. There's my pal Mac, and I see David Risley, but look at this crazy dude here. Spence. I'm sure there's a few more Spences in there. Okay. Spence. Okay. All right, let's bring it together. What I did is an experiment, and I've been doing this for a while, is that I do not make produced videos for YouTube. I am too lazy for that. I make these one take using Loom videos that have me doing what I'm doing now, talking to human beings like very casual, very unpolished, very unprofessional, with no emphasis at all on keywords. Because the shortcut I discovered for finding and keeping new clients is this. Number one, always true. Go where the pain exists. So if I make content not necessarily talking about the thing it is that I'm trying to sell, but a topic that would be relatable to the people who would want the thing I have to sell. If I was selling how to manage pickleball tournaments, I would not go in talking in a YouTube video about how to manage pickleball tournaments. I would go in and say, oh, you wouldn't believe what happened at this round robin pickleball tournament this weekend. And then I would tell a story about, somebody broke their ankle and they won the tournament or whatever the hell it is. And I would make it short and sweet and infotainment. Infotainment. Let me type this word. Text editor. Online. I'm so old school. I'm using this. Infotainment videos. Step 1. That is stuff that somebody would want to watch or listen to that has nothing to do with pitching a product, but rather is telling a story that a human being would like to listen to. Exactly. Right. See, Kurt's looking up in Grok, and Grok is probably going to have different things too. We'll do a couple more experiments. Infotainment. Spence wants to tell the story about a successful entrepreneur who used one of his products, but he doesn't tell about the product. He talks about the person and the story because that's relatable by the human being who might be scrolling through and find something with a cool thumbnail and a person's face. Getting back to my story about with privacy concerns, right? That I was discussing with Ann and a couple other people. Number 2. I love that I'm just going to do this like Spence old school. This is like Spence and his notebook. Okay. Short, sweet, unprofessional looking, but good production value. That is to say, not one of these 4K cameras with the great depth of field and not all of the 900 cuts and not with like the B-roll footage. I used to make videos. I love making videos. That's how I got started in tech. I don't want to make those videos. I want to make the videos. It's Loom, me showing a screen with a little circle of me that looks like I was sending it to a friend who asked me a question. Make it seem like you're sending it to a friend. Why? Because we're not trying to please YouTube or get followers. What? You're not trying to get followers? No. What we're doing is hijacking. I'm giving away my secrets here. We're hijacking the problems with YouTube and Google by making videos that they don't give a goddamn about what's inside of it. They only care about how many people watch it. But in order to watch it, they first have to go off something like, what's the title? Does this person have other videos? I mean, there's things that they won't share with us, but like what I have found is that it doesn't matter if you got 1 million viewers. If the thing you're trying to talk about is a subject matter that you can relate a story to, if a few people click it and the title ultimately is something they would have typed into YouTube, guess what? You end up at the top of the search for at least 24 hours and sometimes longer. Like, how the hell is it that I have so many videos in here? I have a video in here that's my new feature in Fluent Community, 51 seconds, right? 51-second video, and it somehow manages to come in here. It probably has 12 views to it. Let's see. Watch here. We have to go see more at YouTube to see the actual views, but 51-second video. I have 131 views. Now, took me under 1 minute to make a video. It's me with a little circle of me. All the title was new feature in Fluent Community. Fluent Community. Could have been WP Fusion. Could have been how to make brats. The point of the story is that that was enough so that if somebody typed into most of the search engines, we did 3 of them here, I might actually show up on the front page, either of the raw search or of the videos. And most people want to watch videos. If you went to YouTube, let's see what happens here. Well, Mikhail's got a great point. I'm going to bring this together. I promise you. I'm going to hang with me because this is definitely me doing it, like drawing you through this. If we look here, I'm on my own YouTube page. If I put Fluent Community, for example, into YouTube, let's see what happens. So there's WP Managed Ninjas. There's Toby Salami. Jesus. There's Spence. Is number 3, number 4, number 9. There's the video. A 51-second video with 130 views is enough to get me to the front of YouTube for something that, and this is important, exposes me and my brand and the idea of a pain point to somebody, but not because it's a professionally made thing. It's not a review. It's not set up even with the clever thumbnails. Notice my pal Dave here. He's got like, look, he's the man. He's got like the great studio and he knows what to say and how to say it. And I used to do that and I just found myself wasting time. This is Spence and there's like a shitty thumbnail of me talking with just showing the screen. And I actually show up before him by some stroke of not my genius, because Google is broken. YouTube is broken. This whole system is whacked out. But the takeaway, and I want to say to answer Mikhail's question, they bring clients all day long, every day. Let's follow the breadcrumb. What am I selling? I just told you guys, kids, raise your hands. Bueller. I'm selling a relationship with Spence. What is he talking about? Well, let's go to the landing page. What does WP Launchify do? And by the way, let's shrink this down to the proper scale. Okay, what does WP Launchify do? I help you create profitable WordPress solutions. And I probably got to change this to Fluent Community. But otherwise, membership, marketing, automation, online courses. What is the call to action on the billboard? Book your free call. Why? Because what happens is people who go to anything I do and hear a funny story get exposed to either my main page or my specific landing page. Let's go to this one where I am specifically talking about Fluent Community and how I actually used the very thing that I'm talking about to set up my own community. Notice what we've got. Number 1, use the keyword in the title. Use the keyword in the title of the video. Why? Because that seems to be what makes YouTube happy. It's not, sorry, Neil Patel, 0 keyword searching. Sorry, Rand Fishkin, I didn't do research on competitors' stuff because I don't plan on spending a dime on ads or pleasing Google. I just know that their algorithm is broken. And if I make a 1-minute video with the title of something, it typically shows up as long as there's not a trillion other people doing the same thing. I mean, that is an important caveat. But watch this, Mikhail. Look down here where my mousey is. Let me zoom in here. Notice this part right here. What's the first thing that I put in my description? Oh, it's a link to the sales page of the thing somebody can get that I referenced indirectly or directly in the video. Not complicated. I've got a client that I used to work with who is now abundantly successful, not necessarily to do anything I did, but maybe I feel I had something to do with this. So Marnie Kinrys, the wing girl, Marnie, wing girl, she talks about adult dating topics. Let's take a Marnie has like 1,370,000. She had 400 something when I met her. She's doing amazing. Notice what is going on here. Make your sex life and pleasure great for Vita. Go to, here's the link. So let's follow the breadcrumbs. Let's type it out. What's happening? Videos get more attention, not for production, but for keyword and title that, if they look appealing and get someone to watch, can have the link to your sales page on it. Then you should have, if it's not obvious to get the thing, a call and talk to someone button. Now, what does that mean? That means if you have something that is more than a impulse buy, I'd say up to $97 is an impulse buy. But if you have something that's like, I sell $5,000 things, I cannot tell you in answer to Mikkel exactly the ratio, but I am in the 90+% range of people who see videos like, not my dating advice, but like of my, let's say, Fluent community advice. I have a new plugin that was by demand, right? I have sold about a half a dozen of these through exactly this method in maybe 2 days. People who are paying, rightly so, because they want just the customizer plugin, not the rest of the stuff. The point is, it makes no difference to me. It cost me $0. $0. And this was a whole 2 minutes and 14 seconds of my life of on a screenshot. Zero production, zero cost, zero ad dollars. I'm like Johnny Appleseed going around planting seeds on everything that is something that this face, this name, this voice is going to show up in. Why is that relevant? Well, let's get back to that topic. But before I do, because it leads to somebody either going to the thing that is an impulse buy, or always the book, the free call, have a free call with a human being who is not going to sell you necessarily an AI service. But when I actually have the call, I love people, I love talking. I would say over half of the people that I have this call with who come in for any oddball question not only end up buying just the 97 a month, but they end up taking VIP service, a $300 an hour, a $1,250, a lot of times going right to the VIP of 5,000. Why? Because like myself, they were overwhelmed by the pace of the world. They have a billion things to take care of, and they just had never met somebody who was willing to come forward and say, hey, I'm really excited about all this stuff. I would love to be your concierge. And either it's the tools that I have or the services I can offer or the knowledge I can bring. I can give you what you need because you're actually talking to a real person. So if we were to look at the cost value ratio of you doing this and keeping the client, let's talk about what we get. No money on ads, no money on SEO services. And what a drag that is. No broken SEO links caused by Yoast's plugin in particular. I don't know if you guys know this. One of the things that makes me so annoyed is people have the Yoast SEO plugin in particular. Yoast SEO will break the permalinks of other things on your site if it feels that it doesn't match up with what it's looking for. So when you go to set up the Fluent community plugin, for example, if you or your client have Yoast, it breaks the link that would have otherwise shown community. You have to go and know to turn that off or go in and set the permalinks. Okay. But what do we get in exchange? A, you get free traffic to your landing pages. B, you get no time wasted because only a minute or two a day. Now, I'm going to show you Loom. So it's not like the production takes a minute, but it's definitely under 10 minutes. Full production under 10 minutes. There's no way that I would put videos out like this if it took me more than 10 minutes because I have to do this almost every day. Next, they live on forever. D, they can be shared in socials. Now, what do? I make these videos and then I just lazy as hell, click this button and I quite literally, I got to go to my own account here, but I quite literally just take the link that will show up, share. Just take the share and I'm lazy. I just literally click. I'm not a fan of Twitter anymore, but like Twitter, Blue Sky, Facebook, LinkedIn. I take this thing and I jazz it up and I go, oh my God. So many people loving this. Say something provocative. I usually get rid of, I don't know. Yeah, you can see the overlay. I get rid of the YouTube part just to shorten it a bit. Now, What I'll typically do is if this doesn't know embed, I'll just put the like an attractive thumbnail that I had already created in Canva. So I don't know if I have something here, but let's say I'll use today's let's see if I have a bunch of leftovers here from this week. Maybe let's just do this one. Okay. So it just makes it a little more visually interesting. That's it. I'll go around and I'll paste that by clicking 3 or 4 times, not even setting up Hootsuite. I'll do Facebook, I'll do LinkedIn, I'll do Blue Sky, and I'm good to go. Now, today, for example, I'm live streaming this event into Facebook groups. What I did on Sunday was a similar version of this. I don't think I have any evidence yet of how well it does, but you can also just use something like StreamYard and just do this on the fly, do it live. So you're creating a YouTube video and a Facebook video at the same time. But the production value, stupidly simple, as I'm going to show it in 1 minute. So you get the value of social stuff that can be shared and gives you a broader array of trees that you're planting. Like you're in a helicopter planting seeds instead of just one at a time. And then finally, the goal. Listen up, kids. Is to build relationships with real people and learn what they need for you to solve. Why is this huge? Why is this the biggest thing? Here's why. Today in 2025, on February 21st, the world has got a lot of cool things, a lot of uncertain things. Tomorrow, it's going to be different. And down the road, it's going to be even more different still. What's going to be the same? I'm going to still be here. You're going to still be here. People are still going to hopefully get up and put their pants on one leg at a time. As the world becomes more complex, I think there's a dream that the AI and the robots will help us, but we've got a lot of work to do in the meantime, let's be honest. So for those people struggling with the changes of society and the struggles of changing with the world as it is, and people like me who have kids and other things or health issues, they want somebody to come in and help them stay competitive. I'm doing an outline version. 1, competitive with their competitors. 2, save them time and money from making mistakes. 3, have a human to literally talk to and feel better. I have to share this window because I'm doing this human. What does this mean? What do you mean? The goal is to build a relationship and help people be competitive, save them time, money, have a human. Well, think about yourself. Do you want to make your job learning to do what Spence does, like tracking down all the plugins that break or work or how they do it and everything? Or is it easier just to talk to Spence for free and he spoon feeds it to you? Do you want to be the person that figures out how to do all this stuff? Or is it easier to just to have Spence get it done for you? Do you want to talk to an AI robot and hope that that's the answer you need, or not really be sure if it's hallucinating? Or do you want to talk to a human? You can look in the eye and it's not generated by a computer, and ask them to put their name and face and reputation around it. And what I found is that as the world changes and the things that I have to say change, my job is protected for the near term. I don't know in the future, maybe a robot Spence will exist. But for right now, I just have to continue being the guy that from a technology standpoint helps small businesses and even enterprises get the right solution for what they can do using a modern mindset and not a hallucinating mindset of like spend money on Google and Facebook ads and SEO and all this stuff. Because I would suggest there's a rare slice of the economy that benefits from that today. Whereas in the past, maybe more of us did. There's a quadrillion websites out there and a quadrillion videos, and all these other things are now force multiplied with AI and bots. You cannot compete, or your clients cannot compete trying to do that kind of stuff. But this little trick, something you can do today, it costs you no money. I'm going to show you the tool right now with a couple minutes we have left that I use. And you can literally see for yourself. You can F around and find out by this weekend if this works for you. Because once you get somebody into the conversation with you, or if you offer like a impulse buy, you can directly track and match the thing that got them from A to B to C. And then the difference is, this is big. I don't know if this was what Mikkel was asking about as well. The difference is when the person comes, you can immediately have their email, their name, their phone number, and put it in your CRM and track using the tags and custom fields what it is that they've done, what they like, what they say, what they do, to then continue on using the automated tools to keep the relationship alive. This morning, I answered about a dozen emails before the show, in the 12 minutes before the show. I could do it because I'm using some tools to optimize my deliverables, but not to interfere with me being the person giving the advice. Here's what I use at the moment. In the past, I've used other tools. I'm using Loom, which is free, or you can pay for it. I pay for it because, let's look at this little doodad video. I use Loom for two things, and it used to be good. Now it's freaking amazing. Still has some problems, but freaking amazing. I used to use it for, number one, answering customer support. I still do. You send me a question. I am in your website. I want to demonstrate what I did and how I did it. I just turn on the Loom and starts recording the screen, and I put a little thing of me in the corner. In the past, that was good enough, but it was sort of like, what? Guess what it does now? Now it gives me immediately a transcript. It immediately lets me correct the transcript, like typos. It automatically gives me the ability to edit the video. If I go into the transcript and I say something I don't like, I could just highlight it and delete it. It edits the transcript, the video, and the audio in seconds. It allows me to automatically remove the silence as filler words, automatically edit and enhance and polish the video. I mean, this is some crazy shit. Stylized captions if I want. Oftentimes, I will include a document that it will generate, like a step-by-step from the things that I put, so that I can just give this either in the notes or give it to the person. It costs me nothing. And I can just copy the text and paste it into an email. Oh, here's Spence. Here's everything you need to know. I can also automatically create this and have it pulled by my tool and put into my WordPress site. So I can turn this into code documentations if I prefer that format, like I'm talking something geeky. Okay. Let's see how that spits out. Right. Same concept, all written for me, linked to the Loom. But here's what I really do. What I do is I get in there and I download the video. And it comes in MP4 video format. It's already optimized. I download the captions. And then I run. I don't walk over to YouTube. And I switch to my WP Launchify account, which I'd have to log into, but you've seen it. It's a WP Launchify. And in that, I then create a video. I upload the Loom MP4. I take the thumbnail that I've created automatically or manually, same amount of time at Canva. You can see super duper Spence easy. I am lazy as hell. I just copy the last one and I change it and save. I do not waste steps. I'm too old for that. And then I upload the thumbnail, the transcript, which was already made by Loom, properly matched to the video. I then ask the Loom AI here to summarize stuff, or I take the transcript and I put it into somewhere else, right? So for example, if I took this transcript and I said, here, copy, I might just go back over here to one of my other chat friends and I'd have a special setup with a prompt, but I'd say, make an awesome YouTube description for this that starts with a link to WP Launchify or whatever. Paste it in, gives me a second, spits it back out. I'm not like spending any time and effort on this stupid stuff. Okay. Here's the description. It even gives me all those wackadoodle, I think they're annoying, but they're clever. Gives me all the little stuff that I need. I mean, the emojicons or icons. Notice too, it's It's even doing keywords. I mean, this is why you're not going to win trying to spend money on ads or doing other stuff. I'm just Spence. And in the time that it took me to do this, like, I don't know, what are you spending $100, $500 on somebody doing stuff? You're hoping and praying that an ad leads somewhere. I just made a video, posted it to YouTube, and later today, it's going to be on page 1 in many cases. Now, the last bit of this, which is the relationship building, be the birdie on the hippo's back. So if we go back over here, be the birdie if we do a picture, birdie on hippo's back. Let's see if it shows me a picture of something. Yeah. Okay. So this picture here represents what you want to be. Maybe a cuter little birdie instead of an egret. The hippo welcomes, not just tolerates, welcomes the birdie. The birdie gets on the hippo's back and it eats the parasites. And the hippo feels good. The bugs are off my back. The bird eats for free. The hippo's happy. The hippo does whatever it wants, wherever it wants. The hippo is the Facebook group or the Instagram channel or even in the Twitter thread or Blue Sky. It's a place where people are thinking about, talking about, and doing things that are not exactly what you're selling, but they're the kind of people that would like the thing you're offering. And when you go there, you must be the birdie on the hippo's back by being useful to the community without being detrimental to the community, without being threatening to the hippo. And people are very protective. It's a subtle art. I've gotten my, years of trial and error in here, and I still have trouble sometimes because people are very troll-like in behavior. But if you go in there and you're only offering good stuff and your videos are not like, buy my stuff, but instead talk about a different topic. Notice that my link is just it's a little subtle link. It's nothing fancy, right? Even if I have ChatGPT do it, it's just join the club. That's innocuous because as soon as they join your club and give you their email, as soon as they have a free call, as soon as they buy something, guess what you've got? You've got their name, email, maybe their phone number, a history. You even have their credit card. And now you can start having further follow-up relationships with them. So it's a free way, everything I've shown you, to do what's essentially important. Now, I want to say as a ratio of like what you make, if you're selling a $10 thing, you need thousands of customers. But let's say even a low price thing, like a newsletter, $15 a month. $15 a month, if you get just 1,000 people, that's $180,000 a year. I mean, that's nothing to sneeze at. And 1,000 people on a newsletter for $15 a month, while it's not like crazy town good, it's pretty good. I mean, you can keep up with that value proposition. I charge 47 or 97 a month. You can do the math to figure out, like, I don't need 1,000 active customers to have a good business. I mean, that would be an amazing business. $97,000 a month would be like, whoa. But I don't even need a fraction of that for a lawyer's salary. Okay. We're at the top of the hour. Today was different. I appreciate the attention and that you guys spent the time. I would love for you guys as a thought experiment to go out and try the techniques that I showed today. Make a video with Loom. Like Ann or somebody in the same mindset, decide whether you're comfortable making one video with you as the name in the face. Don't reveal where you're living or what your home address and phone number is. Just make a video with you. Find a group that matches with what you're essentially trying to talk about, but don't talk heavily about your product. Be sure that you have a page that people can go to give their email or sign up for a call or even buy something that's a low cost from you, a tripwire. And let's talk about it. Send me your results. We'll talk about it next week. I'll talk about it with you personally via email. You can call me anytime. Till then, I hope you guys have an amazing weekend. See you on the next video.